welcome to another episode of Stuck in My Mind podcast. I am your host, WIZE, and my guest today went from a shy, quiet kid to a successful business owner, professional athlete, and a coach. Welcome to the show, Taylor Ross.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Oh man, I'm great, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing amazing. Plugging away. It's been a crazy last 2 weeks, but that's what we do, you know?
Awesome. All right, so let's just jump right into this. Can you share can you share that pivotal moment from your track career that shaped your mindset and approach to life?
Yeah, of course. So I would say that was in college still, right? So in college, there was a point where I was always trying to please my coach. And then I had that point where I was like, you know what? I got to start doing something for me a little bit more. So at that point, I decided that I needed to commit to my journey for my own furthering in life. And that's when everything just started to click. And guess what? I ran my fastest that year. I did get faster after that still, but I made it to the finals in our conference. I placed, I was on the podium, which was the first time in years in my event for our school. And then I realized all those little things that happened because of that choice I made to start doing something for myself, not selfishly, but just like to represent me, is when everything just clicked and everything else in life, in my education, in business. That's how I started applying things like, you know what, I got to do this because this is what I want to see in my life. And that's how things transformed.
So how does your experience as a professional athlete influence your coaching philosophy and how you approach to working with your clients?
So an athlete and a high performer are the same. It doesn't matter if you're actually an athlete or a high performer in business or life in your own work. It might not be entrepreneurship or anything, but how you see what your goals are and how you attack them should be the same for both people. All right. So as an athlete, there's an end goal, and it's not 2 weeks away. It's usually 9 months to 4 years away. You got to work with that big picture in mind to make sure you're constantly moving forward and not just getting complacent with where you are. So when I coach, I try to always keep the long game in my clients' minds, my athletes' minds, so they know what they're striving for. But we have these little objectives that we have to keep hitting time after time to make sure we're going towards that long one. Because if you set this massive goal, well, shit, it's not going to feel like you are making much headway every single little day, right? There's so much more that can be done in the little days that accumulate to the big day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it takes time. It's the dedication of it. There's a whole lot that goes behind actually becoming the person you want to be with the goals that you have set. But being a professional athlete sculpted my mindset with how I go about daily tasks, showing up for practice when I didn't want to, hitting the weight room, taking care of my body. And those are things that anybody should do. So whether you're my elite athlete client or if you're a high performer in life overall or just trying to optimize yourself, those little things that I did every single day to try to make an Olympic team still apply to somebody who's not at that elite level of athletic performance. It's all the same.
So what was your motivation to transition from a career in athletics to becoming a gym owner and an online coach?
It kind of happened pretty naturally. Through my professional career, I was already coaching people anyway. My degree was in kinesiology, so it was strength conditioning, nutrition focused. So I had my master's in that. So once I graduated, I got, the normal PT job at a commercial gym, helping people just optimize their overall health, but didn't know all the different aspects that went with it. So that was a natural progression already. And back in 2013, I believe it was, I started a company called the VicFit, which was the virtually integrated coach. Well, young Taylor, sophomore or junior in college, I want to say, didn't know much about marketing or online or anything. And the virtually integrated coach died. Like, I didn't know what to do, even though it could have been great. So I washed that away, got rid of the website, all that. And then the pandemic is really what kickstarted the online aspect of me coaching. So Crown Athletics is now what I do online. That's so I could help reach more people, help transform more lives, and reach athletes that I might not be able to see every single day in my facility. So the transition from being an athlete to just coaching and running my own gym happened really fluidly because it was kind of already happening, right? It was just fine tuning what my attention was what I put my attention into now. So instead of spending 5-6 hours training, taking care of my body, doing all those things, is learning how to advertise, how to market, how to service clients better, how to optimize results, how to use platforms to help guide people that I can't see in person all the time, or in person, how to be the best coach possible. Which when I was at Cal State Fullerton, I interned for 2 years, so 2 separate times. Then I got in-person coaching with Division I athletes. So I got to do it at a very high level before I even started doing the business, before I started working as a personal trainer. And I didn't realize how much I got out of that until I stepped into the commercial world of training. I was like, whoa, I took my education and all my experience for granted. And that's what set me apart from everybody. So I just put forward what I did athletically and what I learned from my studies to be the best coach possible in virtual and in person.
So you was kind of ahead of your time, and when you started your first virtual company, because it wasn't until like more when the pandemic and everything, that's when really everything really started becoming more virtual, right?
Oh,
So
yeah.
so how do you help your clients develop mental discipline and resilience to overcome obstacles?
So the biggest way that I help people do that is creating the daily disciplines. It could be on the fitness front, it could be on the nutrition front, or it could be on self-care front. I do all different things by looking at their life overall to make sure that they're doing something to overcome self-limiting beliefs, to make them more mentally resilient. Because if you don't do things time after time, it just becomes you just become complacent, right? So I've had people that need to focus on meditation or just quiet time. I've had people who need to go outside and get a run in. And there's going to be days that you don't want to do it, but it's your dedication and the discipline to sticking to that consistency of the routine that develops that resiliency. If you do it whenever you want, you're not going to get the results. You're also not going to get the resiliency. So when times do get tough, everything falls out the window. So when you do things when you don't want to do them, that's what makes you a stronger person, especially mentally. So that's what the mind frame is that I coach is even when you don't want to do it, show up. Because guess what? Olympic athletes show up when they don't want to, right? You got to get the work done. If you're trying to be the best person possible, you got to show up when you don't want to do the work. And that could be showing up for your family. It could be showing up for work. Could be showing up for your kids. It could be showing up for your own self and your workouts, but you just got to show up.
Can you share a specific challenge you faced while building your business and how you overcame it?
Oh yeah. I didn't know how to run business. I was the PT dude. I knew how to train people. I know how to make you fit and healthy. And I decided to open up a gym with my dad. I knew nothing, right? So there's a couple taxes I had to pay, and definitely the ignorance tax was paid. I had to do a whole lot of learning and dig my nose into books, YouTube videos, Googling stuff to learn what business is, how to incorporate, how to do all these different things. And that was enlightening, but also empowering, right? When you're tested and your true ignorance is shown, that's where you can really grow as a person. So that was just one, I would say, small hurdle at that time is learning business because there's so many tools and resources out there that can help you get things going. But the pandemic was probably the biggest one. Being forcefully shut down and saying you can't do business was something that I really had to work hard to overcome and see how we can make it through it, which thankfully we did. But that's where, all right, how can I help my members? What are we going to do to make sure that they want to stick around? How can I reach out to them beyond just being in a physical space together? And that was being super creative. And through running and going into more kinesiology and how the body works, my creativity kind of faltered. I used to be pretty creative as a kid. I loved art and everything. And then that reignited it again. It got me thinking in different ways. And that 3-4 month period of really trying to figure things out is what has catapulted me in my overall entrepreneurial journey, coaching journey, myself as like a post-collegiate, post-professional athlete to do more and think outside the box a little bit more because we get so confined to what we're doing. And that instance in time is really what tested me, and it could have broke me, right? But I chose not to be broken and to learn as much as I could and be as actionable as possible. And that's what catapulted me forward to where we are now.
Okay. So we touched on the pandemic and everything, but how did you navigate the business shutting down during the pandemic And what lessons did you learn from that experience?
So navigating the shutdown was pretty tricky. One, it was just, what are we going to do? We don't know what's going on. There was a lot of questions at the beginning. I'm sure everybody had those questions.
Yeah.
Same thing, but to have your business shut down, that's your livelihood, right? So you're like, all right, well, I need to put food on the table eventually. My members want service. They're not just going to, support us just willy nilly, because their jobs might have been shut down too. So getting through that really was testing. But what we did was actually create an online platform for them, which eventually came my online platform itself, right? So we were able to service them virtually for a while to make sure that they were feeling heard, getting what they needed. Because the biggest thing with the pandemic was a lot of mental health was tested big time, right? And knowing what fitness or exercise in general does, I knew I had to do something to help keep people connected, right? And that was the biggest thing. So the sense of community is really what kept us all together. Right. So the pandemic tested that. And I had to remind people, like, hey, you didn't come here just because of the weights that we have or just because of the classes we have. You came because of the people, the coaches, and that cohesion is what kept everything together. And that was one of the most powerful lessons that I learned through getting shut down, right? So what we had to do was provide that same environment virtually for a little while until we could bring them back in. And that sense of community building virtually is really how we overcame the hurdle of being shut down for the first couple months, for sure, because there was no ifs, ands, or buts. I was in Los Angeles. Like, you were shut down.
Mhm. So what role does consistency play in achieving long-term success, both in fitness and in life?
It is the one and only thing that will determine your success, right? It doesn't matter how fast or how slow you're going. If you're making steady progress towards whatever it is that you want, you'll get there. Now, the time delay depends on the level of intensity that you put forward, or if you get some outside help, like investing in a coach, or if you're learning on your own. It's what you're willing to do to get there in whatever time frame you think is okay, right? Everybody has a different level of time frame that they want to accomplish things in, and that's fine. I paid the ignorance tax a lot. I try to learn everything myself online, research stuff all the time. But the long-term goals that I had were more in line with, I need to accelerate the process. I need to reach out for some help. And that, not just the consistency of it, but having somebody that checks in on me, the accountability of having a business mentor, or even myself as a fitness coach. I hire fitness coaches to keep me accountable, right? And that consistency is what's going to keep me going towards that long-term goal. And we touched about it earlier. The small daily actions that you do might get lost in the noise towards the big goal, but you need something to keep you accountable for what you're doing and the consistency of doing it to eventually reach that big peak goal, right? But that always ebbs and flows. You think of road, there's always these forks. You're not going to go straight. It's not just a linear path. Something might happen. The goal might shift. It might come closer. It might get pushed further away. We don't know. But what we do know is what we can do every single day and be consistent in our daily disciplines. And that's where that success comes from.
And you're absolutely right. Being consistent. For me, it took me really being consistent with my podcast, setting a schedule, making sure that I stuck to that schedule. And when I started doing that, and that's when I seen the podcast starting to grow, because that's what people see when you're dedicated and you're putting the effort and you're putting in the work in what you're doing. So the more I got consistent with it, the more I improved. So
Mhm.
that just helped me, just being more consistent and doing it more frequently just helped me get better at what I was doing.
Yeah, it's all a consistency game, and people like to see the progress being made, right? Some people don't, or I would say most people don't want to just see the gold medal, the trophy at the end. They want to see how that person got there. They want the story, right? Start creating your story, and your story is built through being consistent with whatever you want to do. For you, it's the podcast. For somebody else, it might be starting a business. For another person, it might be losing 50, 60 pounds or trying to make a team for basketball or soccer or track and field. but the consistency of doing it and showing the story is extremely powerful to help building not only your own confidence, but people who are rooting for you along the way.
So as a father, how do you balance entrepreneurship, coaching, and family life?
That's actually something I struggled with for a while, because I could actually just put my head in the trenches and just work. I'm a workhorse. I love work. And I had to take a step back and realize like I need to be able to give back not only to my family, but myself too. It's like actually last Friday, one of my fighters was up at Santa Cruz. We flew up there for his fight. 4 days gone, had to come back to business, catch up on everything. Tax season, got slammed, super stressed, just crushing everything, trying to get it all done. Friday, all of a sudden I get this like rainbow, like blur in my eye. I'm like, what the hell is this? What is this? I'm like going like this, go up to my wife. Hey, do my pupils look normal? And she's like, yeah, you're totally fine. And then an hour later, boom, massive headache, like pins just right in the side of my head. 2 hours later, after I'm doing a phone call, I feel nauseous. I'm like, oh, I've got a massive migraine right now. I was down and out that entire day. I had to go to the gym. I was in the office with the lights off for 2 hours, just hoping it goes away. And that was my reality check of, hey, it's time to slow down a little bit because I can really just keep grinding and going. And then I looked back even more. I'm like, I need to give more time to my family, right? Weekends, I work. My online clients, I take care of all their check-ins. I do their program updates. I send them videos. And this was more like 2 or 3 months ago. I was like, I need to move things around so I can be present and go out with the family, take my daughter out and be present. And nobody's perfect. And I'll be the first one. I worked too much. I did. But I was ambitious to grow the business on both the brick and mortar and online. And I sacrificed some things, but it wasn't a sacrifice that I should have chosen to make. And I recognize that now. So now I time block like crazy. My calendar, certain things, certain tasks are done at certain times. And then there is family, like space time. It might sound bad, but like I block off certain time to do certain things with my family and make sure that I'm present in those moments. Because being an entrepreneur, things just pop up out of nowhere and you got to take care of it. So I have to be cognizant of when I am doing certain things and when to actually shut it off and say, nope, everything's off right now. So being an entrepreneur, being a father, there's a lot of balance that needs to be had. And I wasn't the best at it at first, right? But now it's been about 3-4 months, way, way better with it now. And it's way more rewarding. And I have more energy to give back to my clients in the gym, online. And my daughter enjoys it as well. Like we're doing so much more. And she's super happy. Just, she's 2.5. She's bubbly.
Anytime she gets spent with Pop, with her
yeah,
dad,
exactly.
is good. So
yeah. Today, her favorite teacher wasn't there, and she was hugging on to me when I was trying to drop her off at daycare, and it was sad, but it also made me feel like amazing. I'm like, you know what? I got 5 minutes to spare. Let me just chill with her a little bit, try to get her play on the playground, and those little tiny moments, huge. She might not remember it. I will. I sure as hell will. Like that's huge. So yeah, it is tough. But managing your time and your energy to be able to be present and give back to your family is paramount. And everybody's is going to be a little bit different because everybody's schedules are a little bit different. Everybody's levels of intensity and energy are going to be different. And that's where you need to find time to look at what your life looks like, how you can give back, and then go from there. And you can have somebody help you do that, but you need to get it done.
Can you discuss the importance of leading by example and inspiring others to make powerful life changes?
Yeah. So with leading by example in the fitness industry, I have to represent what I preach. I'm never going to be somebody who just says something but doesn't follow through. Any challenge that I've had my clients do, I have done as well. Any diet that's out there, I've tried it just so I know what it feels like. And through movement, the biggest inspiration now is my daughter. Like I want to represent health and wealth, not in like the monetary standpoint, but life, right? Live life, feel good, eat good foods that support your body, not just eat to eat, right? And she checks me sometimes because her nutrition can be better than mine. Like I have my instances where I want to slip, But to lead by example is I wouldn't say a burden, but it puts a weight on my shoulders of I'm always being watched, and now I'm extra watched because of my daughter. And I like that challenge. It's good. And I talk to a lot of my clients on more than just the fitness and the nutrition side of things. We talk mindset, and to lead by example is huge. And we chat back and forth about business or like things that we may be struggling with, and we grow off of each other. But I always try to lead with the best example possible. And if I don't know something, I'll ask. I'll tell them, hey, I'm sorry, I don't know. I'll reach out to somebody that I know is a professional in the field to go back to them. And I think that's another really good way of leading by example is being honest and not being a know-it-all. Like if somebody says they know it all, you should run in the other direction. That's not a safe person to be learning from, because really realistically, they don't know everything. So leading by example for me is being humble, showing up every single day, and following through with what you say you're going to do.
So how do you approach mindset coaching to help clients overcome self-limiting beliefs and achieve their goals?
So that's identifying where they might feel that they can't do something. If they say like, oh, well, this or that, or there's like a story, the mindset behind overcoming that takes time. And I was just recently working with a client. It took us about a year before doors were opened that they let me in to figure out what was going on so I could help them to overcome a little bit of childhood trauma, if you want to call it that, or just like things that were ingrained from them growing up that they saw their parents do or what they have always done. And it takes time to develop those relationships and open up those doors to start framing everything properly, to start building that mindset, right? There's no just like, oh, here you go. This is the tool. Listen to this meditation. You're good and gravy. Send you on your way. And if any coach does that, like that's not right. Like I have my tools, but you don't just give somebody a tool and say, see you later. They don't know how to use it. You have to guide them. So I have to ask a lot of questions. I have to know what's going on before we really get down into it. But developing that awareness first and then cultivating the environment that they need to become more successful and build that mental resilience to overcome the self-limiting beliefs is how we go about it. And it could take a week or it could take 10 years. Everybody's different, but I'm here to support them and help them identify things that they can overcome and not be limited by what they thought they couldn't do. I've almost had every single client tell me that they've achieved things that they never thought possible in their life. And it's just my normal process of figuring out who they are, what they want to be, and guiding them there and showing them and building confidence. Confidence is the biggest thing. Confidence is what makes the mindset.
So what advice would you give to someone who is struggling to stay motivated or on their fitness journey?
So if you're struggling to get started or stay going, you got to look at what it is that you really want to accomplish. If you look at yourself in the mirror, I'm not even talking just physically, but look at yourself in the mirror. And if you're not content with what you're accomplishing, what you're doing, how you look, how you feel, then you just got to know that making that action moving forward is going to help. It might not help leaps and strides, but it might be a little baby step where like, I do feel a little bit better than yesterday. I do feel a little bit more confident than yesterday. Oh, I did lose a half a pound this week. It might not be 2, but I lost something, right? When you're feeling like you're losing it, you got to just remember why you started or what you're trying to accomplish. Just look yourself in the mirror, be honest with yourself, and tell yourself what it is that you're doing and not doing. All right. It's not all about adding. Sometimes it's about subtracting or identifying what's not present that should be. There's different ways to go about it. So for some people, it's just as simple as reminding them like, hey, your goal is to lose 20 pounds in the next 3 months. Like we need to stay on top of it. Well, for somebody else, that might not work. All right. Oh, you want to lose this weight? Well, yeah, kind of. Well, no, you really want to play with your kids. You want to go run outside, have some fun, and not have to worry about being out of breath. That could be motivation that'll get them going again. Because exercise always isn't the easiest thing. Following a nutrition plan is simple, but it's not always easy, right? So you just have to remind them what it is that they're in for on the positive like path. Don't remind them how hard it can be, but like, hey, we're doing this because we're working towards this goal, and you are making progress. Like, look where you were before compared to now. As long as you're not backpedaling, we're in a good spot. And if you do backpedal, it's okay. Just pause, reset, and start to create that traction again.
So how do you cultivate resilience in the face of setbacks or failures, both personally and professionally?
So these will coincide with each other. If you have a setback, you can either let it overcome you, or you can look at it and learn from it, right? A failure isn't finite. You don't have to be set with, oh, I failed at this, I can't do it anymore. No, it's all right. I didn't do this one time, and I can move forward on growing from that instance. The easiest example would be going to the gym and lifting weights. Are you going to go to the squat rack and throw on 3 plates and squat your first day? No, right? You're going to fail, right? But what you can do is like, oh, that was too heavy for me. Let me try the bar first. That's a great place to start, right? And then we start building from there. It's not all about, oh, just failed. That's it. That's the end of the road. No, it's just a lesson or a hurdle or a roadblock that you need to learn to overcome and identify what kind of led you down that path. So everything's a learning experience. Got to look at everything with a positive mentality to make sure that you're moving forward rather than dwelling on what didn't happen and thinking that no good can happen from whatever it is that you did. If you focus in on what you're doing and not working, all you're going to get is negative outcomes all the time. We don't want to focus on the negative outcomes. We want to see how we could turn that negative into a positive. And that's how you can really start to build that traction and the resiliency of building upon yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So, can you share a success story from your coaching career that particularly resonates with you?
Oh, yeah. So it's actually probably the most recent story. I said I was in Santa Cruz with my fighter, Ozzy Diaz. 19 months since he's fought. He was on the Dana White Contender Series, and we lost that one. He fought the hell of a dude who's in the UFC now. And 19 months, we put our head down, we trained, and I'm sure he went through some dark times. I went through some dark times as a coach. Like, I was like, man, we didn't have the full package put together, right? Sometimes that just happens in the fight world. But 19 months of work. He had some injuries that we overcame. And throughout the time, day in and day out, laying the bricks one by one, leading up to this last fight 2 weeks ago, Santa Cruz. He got 30 days notice. I had 30 days to get him ready for his fight. So I do his strength and conditioning, his nutrition, his weight cuts. He's got his fight coach. We communicate with each other. He's like, all right, 30 days, let's go. Put the fight plan together. All the hard work that we had been doing for the past 18 months, the bricks were already laid, right? I was confident in him. He was confident in himself. And the only reason why he was confident in himself is because he laid all those bricks. We get into the ring or the cage. He had done his meditations. He'd done his visualization. First round, flying knee, TKO, up a weight class at 205 after 19 months of not fighting, right? Might just sound like some athletic story. You guys have no idea everything that went behind it. I actually sat down with him in the studio here to talk to a little bit more about the mindset behind it. And I learned more about him through his mindset preparing for this fight. And that was not only a huge win for him, but for me as well, because we did it together. It was a journey together. Nothing is by yourself. If you do things by yourself, the reward can't be shared, right? So that was one of the most amazing things where he was down. Getting knocked out is pretty debilitating on the mindset, right? Getting shut down, but to come back from that and be the best fighter, the best version of himself now is amazing. And now the doors are open wide for more opportunities, and we're super excited for them.
So, what do you hope your legacy will be in the fitness and coaching industry?
What I've kind of decided that I want to pursue with fitness and nutrition and health overall is just helping people find whatever it is that they like that keeps them healthy and fit. I really don't care what it is, but we're not taught much about how to stay fit and healthy, how to eat right in school, right? We don't even know how to do our taxes from school. Like we got to learn all these things that truly matter in life after we get out of school. Like what are we learning in school? Nothing really relevant at the high school level for what life really has to give us. So my goal, my passion is to help people find what they want to do, help educate them why it keeps them healthy, and make it a hobby for them. Make it super fun. If it's kayaking, if it's swimming, if it's running, if it's learning boxing or a skill like that, if it's CrossFit, I really don't care. I just want to make sure people go, dang, Taylor helped me realize like it's fun to move my body and I feel great doing it. Right. That is what I want to do. That is the legacy that I want to leave behind. And I'm trying to build that right now by impacting as many people as possible in my gym and then online too. And I have amazing athletes that help me showcase that too, which Ozzy is talking more about inspiring people. And that's what we're here for. We're here to inspire the masses, to show them what they're truly capable of through health, fitness, athletics, business, whatever it might be.
So how do you continue to challenge yourself and grow as a coach and an entrepreneur?
So to grow as a coach, I'm always learning. I have mentors that I reach out to. I got an amazing education, but I still reach out to like Dr. Annie Galpin was on my committee for my thesis when I was getting my master's. There's other amazing professionals out there in the world where I'm always learning. Um, Things are always evolving. There's new things to test and try, and that's how I further with coaching. On the entrepreneur front, business and trends are always changing too. So I'm constantly having to learn, touch bases with my mentor as well to see what it is I could be doing and improving on. And one of the biggest aspects that go on both fronts actually is I'm huge on customer service. I want to make sure you have the best experience possible, whether it's online, whether you're an athlete of mine, or if you're just at my gym just trying to get fit and healthy. And constant education is the only way to do that. The constant contact, networking, all of that is paramount with coaching and in business to make sure that you're providing the best service possible.
Absolutely. Yes, you definitely have to continuously improve on yourself. That's something that I made sure when I decided I was going to go hard on doing the podcast. I made sure I invested in quality mics. I got me a Rodecaster Pro, got me a quality camera, because I just felt that people would give me something very precious, which is their time, sitting down, listening to the show and everything. So I wanted to make sure that I improved with each episode, that I wanted to make sure the quality of my sound was good, the video was, because I just wanted to improve. It was something that it's in with me is I continuously learn. I'm always learning new tools. I'm always finding something new to help me cut time on editing or help me cut time on creating clips and all these other different things. But it's me wanting to make things simpler.
Yeah, efficiency. And if you can take a 10-word sentence and make it 3 words,
Why
that's
not?
awesome, right?
Yeah,
It's probably more clear, more concise. That's what we do with whatever our profession is. It's all about helping break things down and make it as easy as possible. When you provide an exceptional service and high quality and streamline your own process, it's that much better for everybody else too.
it is. It is. It makes life easier for yourself. So now on the weekends, I don't do I disconnect on the weekends. The
Mm,
weekends is for me and my wife. Those are those are the days we have together. So those are the days that we're movie night or date night or going out for dinner, whatever it is. Those are the two Saturday and Sundays are the nights that I unplug. I disconnect. I don't check emails. I don't work on content. None of that. Because you have to figure out that balance. You have to be able to do work on what you're supposed to work on the lot. So that's something I've learned as well, is scheduling, is making
mhm.
sure that I schedule the things that I need to schedule that are important in life.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, you got a leg up on me on that one. You probably identified that a lot earlier than me, and it's because you see the value in that and how much it can actually give back and recharge you, right? And that is something that some people won't recognize for a while, myself included. So that time blocking and creating space for family and friends and all that is super important. And I'm sure when you first did that, it was an eye-opening experience for you, just like it was for me. It was like, oh wow, this is so much better. Like this is
Mhm.
amazing.
Yeah, it made things simpler. It's actually helped me create a better product. It's by really just structuring the show and improving and basically setting up a system on how I record. Like I have a system in line where I do my thumbnails, I set up the studios, I set up descriptions, titles for the show, all in within probably 30 minutes.
Nice. That's super
Where
streamlined.
whereas before it would take me more time to get everything all organized and go do this. So by me having the calendar and having them people's information and look, it's made it so much easier for me to really come out and just come and just be prepared for when it's time for the cameras to come on.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're able to get more done during that time too. Like that's what's what's tough about being an entrepreneur is there's nobody to really check us, right?
Yeah,
And we have to do it ourselves. And that's something that, like, oh, you have all this time in the world that people will say. It's like, yeah, I do. Except if I don't check myself on that time, I lose it and business doesn't grow. I don't grow as a person and individual. And that's something that I had to learn as well. Is like, oh, I don't have like a 4 hour block where I could just like chill, do nothing. It's like there's things to be done. And when you have everything scheduled, you have all your tasks that need to be done that are recurring, or maybe it's a one-off projects. That is what can help us keep moving forward, moving the needle as an entrepreneur. That's
yeah.
where I mean, entrepreneurship is glorified all over the internet right now. It is not easy, not at all. It is so damn hard,
Oh,
especially
not everybody's built to be an entrepreneur.
no.
It's
Mm-mm.
not you probably spend more time being an entrepreneur. Like people think like, oh, I'm gonna be my own boss. You probably spend more time on your own business than you did working a 9 to 5. Because at 9 to 5, you have your 40 hours. Those are the hours you're gonna work. When you're an entrepreneur, there's no set time. Like if something needs to get done at 3 o'clock in the morning, you're the one who has to do it at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
You don't have the flexibility to have a coworker help you with it or what. No, when you're an entrepreneur, you're it. You have like for me, I d- I had to learn my marketing. I had to learn all these different things as a podcaster and all these things. uh, But for me, it was like, okay, if I want to truly do this, then I need to learn. I need to
Mhm.
learn. And then eventually, if when it gets to the point where I could afford to hire somebody to take some things off my plate, then that's what you do.
Yeah, that's a big part of it, and the success of an entrepreneur in my eyes is determined by the amount of work that they actually do, right? The people that try and like, "Oh, it didn't work for me." Well, did you work as much as you were working your normal job?
No.
Probably not. You didn't put the dedication into it.
Mhm.
That's what the differentiator is, right? And through business, as an entrepreneur, you are a direct result of the outcome of your company. And if you fail or don't make it and it's only 6 months in, it's only 6 months, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm 6.5 years now in with the brick and mortar. My online, I tried over 10 years ago and I brought it back 5 years ago. And I'm a beginner. I'm the novice of novices in the entrepreneur world, right? There's people that have been doing it. Like if you want to go for the goats, you got Bill Gates of Microsoft and Jeff Bezos and Amazon and Apple. Like all those started in basically garages, and their work ethic and what they wanted to do is what produces their success. But imagine if they hit one roadblock of like the supply chain, like, oh, this doesn't work. I can't do this. It would never be, right? So with entrepreneurship, your work literally determines how successful you will be. And part of that is learning. Like if you're not willing to learn during the journey, you're going to hit that roadblock and you won't even know it. That's the crazy thing. You'll be like, I can't grow. I can't grow. Why can't I grow? Well, you're being stubborn and don't want to listen to what somebody else might have to say that's kind of been there. There's going to be so many competitors out there.
Yeah.
Learn from somebody who wants to help you. It might not be a direct competitor, but in line with some level of capacity that you're in, it'll help you grow. There's so much cake to eat. Everybody can eat. Like, learn.
No, it is important. I've built relationships with people that are doing what I want to do. So I've built these relationships. They've been willing to mentor me because they see that I'm motivated. They see that I want to learn, I want to improve. So when people see this, they're willing to work with you. When they see that you're dedicated, that you really want to learn, that you want to improve, then you be amazed at how people want to help you.
Yep. You have no idea who's watching.
Yeah.
No idea. And sometimes it might be one person that you would have never thought about, and it will explode opportunities for you just because they saw you putting in the work. That's happened a couple times for me. And a couple of my friends and colleagues that they were just putting out content or just like producing something for somebody, and somebody else huge, like massive, I'm talking like big dogs, saw, and they're a customer now, and it exploded their business. So you always just got to keep working. You're always going to have a breakthrough, fitness or business. There's always going to be that like hesitation point or like nothing's happening, then boom, it just explodes. And
Yeah,
that's the moment where most people give up.
it's like that. It's like that meme where you see people digging, right? Digging.
Yeah.
Right when they're about to get to the gold or to the diamond or whatever, they stop right there.
Yep.
And so, and that's what it is. That is, if people don't see that instant gratification, then they stop. They're like, "Oh, this isn't working. This is." What they're not seeing is that you're picking away at it, and it's going to erupt. And right when you about to erupt, you stop.
Yeah. And I actually thought about that exact meme multiple times while I was running at the elite level. Like maybe this year's gonna do it. Maybe this practice. And there was times where I'm like, man, I don't have it today. I'm so tired. Like I don't want to do it. I'm like, what if I'm that close and I'm about to give up? What if I'm right there? And now it's with business. What if that next little tweak I make is what's going to explode it? What if this next little connection I make helps me grow and learn something that is just invaluable to me? Like it just blows up everything that I need. And I think a lot of people see that, but they don't see it, like they don't resonate with it. Like, oh yeah, he's working hard and he like missed out. Nah, like that dude, like that was life changing right there. If he took 2 more hits of that axe, but he was tired, he was sweaty, his hands were bleeding a little bit and decided to call it quits and walk out. And that next person, overnight success, right? Because they were guided probably by somebody else that did the path, got accelerated results, did a little bit of work, boom, there they are.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh man, this has been a great conversation. We're coming to the time where you get the solo screen and you get to plug away and you let the people know where they can find you, where there's websites, everything.
Sweet. Yeah. So if you enjoyed hearing my story and what I'm talking about, you can find me on Instagram, Tayro Runs. My online company, Crown Athletics, right here, CRWN. If you're local to LA, come through to Rise Athletics LA. We've got boxing, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, strength and conditioning, all sorts of fun stuff. And YouTube, Taylor Rose, ROS. I actually just made a little podcast just before this to talk about what I'm going to be accomplishing or pushing forward to in the near future. So would love to connect. Shoot me a DM. Follow me on Instagram. I'll hit you guys back. And it was a pleasure being on here. Really, really fun time.
Thank you, man. Thank you for being a guest. I definitely appreciate it. I you're always welcome back. I've had people come on multiple times, so you're always welcome to come back. If you ever decide to write a book or you got any big program coming out you want to promote, just shoot me a message and we'll set something up.
That'd be awesome, man. Yeah, I appreciate you having on me. I'd love to connect again.
Oh, definitely. But don't leave just yet. We'll chat a little bit off the air. But it's been a pleasure talking to you, man. And this has been good, man. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Now it is time for shout outs. Shout out to everybody who tuned in on Real Wise TV, Real Wise Productions, YouTube, Facebook group, Stuck in My Mind podcast, YouTube channel, Real Wise TV YouTube channel, as well as the BS3 network. You can find the BS3 network on Roku. Just go to Roku and download the BS3 network. Check us out there every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 5 p.m. And as big shout out to my Real Wise fam, Poppy J, Brandy J. Love you guys. Shout out to the boss lady. Appreciate you and love everything you do for the family. And as always, a big shout out to all the essential workers out there. God bless you. Be safe. You know how your boy Wise does it. Peace out.